2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mission Employable podcast. My name is Ryan West. I am your host. We have a great show for you today. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, we really appreciate it. We are kicking off our National Registered Apprenticeship Week podcast theme episode, if you will. And we are going all in with MidAmerican Energy as today's topic. This is really exciting for me. We've been reaching out to, I've really bugged MidAmerican quite a bit. So I really want to thank them, Tina and the group, and thank you for being patient with me and putting up with me to get our guest on today. And I'm also a child of MidAmerican Energy. If I don't say this, my mom will never talk to me again. My mom actually worked for you guys for 40 years, started out with Iowa Power. So I want to make sure I slip that in as well. So we're all MidAmerican today, MidAmerican Energy. Specifically, we're going to be talking about the awesome registered apprenticeship career path opportunities that MidAmerican Energy offers. Before we get into that, though, MidAmerican Energy Company, headquartered in Des Moines, Iowa, safely meets the energy needs of more than 1.6 million customers in Iowa, Illinois, Nebraska, and South Dakota. On the microphone with us today to talk all things energy career is Stephen Simmons, who is the Director of Trades and Crafts Training. Welcome. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ryan, for having us. It's an honor to actually be here and spread the words about registered apprenticeships and what we actually get to do every single day.
Yeah, very cool. And you guys got like one heck of a training facility out there, and we're going to talk about all that. And thank you, because you came in on short notice, so I really appreciate you making time. We were talking a little bit on the way up here, walking kind of how you got into this, and that's what we want to kind of kick this off with. Talk to us about what your role is with MidAmerican Energy.
First off, the role that I fill with MidAmerican Energy is one that I'm very grateful for. I'm the Director for Trades and Crafts, as you said.
Yep.
I get to really work with all apprentices that come through the organization, as well as those that enter into just regular training programs.
For sure.
But I get to see, meet, interact, engage with them on a daily basis as they come through our organization, which is really, to me, that's amazing that I have an impact on not only our culture, but our ability to serve our customers. So
Absolutely.
I think that's really, really a big privilege for me. The team that I'm on, though, is responsible for every bit of training, from whether they're aligning motors to control system programming.
Yep.
So we really cover a whole wide range of skills and talents. We have over 21 different apprenticeships right now that are registered, they range across our electric delivery business, so substation, line mechanics, electric meter technicians, to our gas business, which are our gas technicians, to gas servicemen or service persons, the ones that you actually see come to your home and come out and investigate your gas leaks.
Yep.
And then we also have our generation side, or our thermal generation, which is extremely important to maintaining grid reliability and providing that power to our customers. We're working towards, as you know, we have tons of wind resources, and we're continually pushing more and more. So that'll be another job coming in the future that's going to be pretty amazing, where we're able to provide all our technician training.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things we've been kicking around here is how do we talk about that or bring more awareness to that. And next year, I mean, anywhere you drive, it seems like in Western Iowa, there's a turbine somewhere. It's pretty crazy. I mean, you can't get lost. It's easy to not pay attention to what you're doing on the road when you start them things the whole way. A couple things, give us some details on the programs as far as the history and how long you guys have been doing this, because, I know the facility just didn't get built and then you were all doing this. And we'll talk about the facility here in a little bit and where it's at, but talk to us about how you kind of got started in this. It goes back several years, does it not, and getting into this realm? And you guys were kind of a pioneer in registered apprenticeship, I believe, or going that path.
Pretty close. I was actually pretty fascinated when I came on into a training capacity, when I understood exactly how far back we did go.
Sure.
So it's one of the most interesting things is that the Department of Labor actually issued our first certificate of registration of apprenticeship programs in 1962.
It goes back a ways.
A long time. So
Jeez,
over
like
60 years.
Over 60 years. Yeah.
Over 60 years.
Wow.
And that's a pretty remarkable accomplishment that our organization's been able to manage and run apprenticeship programs for that long. Just the amount of people that have gone through programs, with MidAmerican Energy or one of the organizations before, it's staggering.
Yeah.
I mean, we generally carry between 150 to 250 apprentices at a time, so pretty amazing. Our apprenticeship programs, they've all been developed and built by a joint apprenticeship training committee, and that's in collaboration with our local unions. So we obviously can't build these things on our own. We look to the subject matter experts. So we really work hand in hand with International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 499, Local 109, as well as United Steelworkers 738. So we work with all of them, and what they provide is the experience and knowledge to help us, develop and build those programs. They're the subject matter experts.
For sure.
So we work hand in hand with them. But you are right. This centralization dream kind of took root back, I would say, in 2017, I believe. And in 2019, we actually centralized our training program. So that's when we actually started. Prior to that, each business unit was really responsible for its own programs.
Okay.
So you had a generation training program, gas training program, and electric. Now we're all in one house. We all learn from each other. Yeah. And it's actually a pretty cool environment.
Very beneficial, I would think, as well.
Right.
I mean, the cross-training available. And that's then ultimately that culminated with the center, the compound out there, and just between Waukee and Adel. I think it's actually considered Adel, I believe, right?
It does have an Adel address.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that makes total sense. And I do find it fascinating that happened right before the pandemic, too. But when you guys brought those in, how can that not be a good thing for not only the trainers but for the students as well? Because doesn't that give them access to other things that are available within MidAmerican Energy down the road if they want to as well, right?
It does. It actually. So we built the facility. You've seen it. It's
a magnificent. It is. It is all glass. It's like a glass house. It is. I really cannot stress it. I was lucky enough to go out there for a meeting. Boy, I want to say 12 months ago now. It is unbelievably huge.
Right.
It really is just kind of its own little world out there.
It is. And the theory behind the glass, though, is actually something that is pretty dear to my heart, and that's the ability to learn from others.
Sure.
So in every organization, you get silos, you get breakdowns, you get, I do this, you do that, and nobody knows what each other does. Well, in our facility, as you're going through training, you can see what other crafts are doing.
Yeah.
Not only can that possibly turn your head towards that style of work or that career, or, that training program, but it also gives you the idea and understanding that, these guys do this type of work or these people do these types of work. It's really helps us break down some of those walls between the business units and divisions.
Yeah.
So bringing everybody together for training is not only beneficial to the instructors because obviously they're getting to focus their time for maximum capacity with the most people in class.
Sure.
But one thing that it really benefits is the apprentice and their engagement.
Yeah.
So not only do they learn from the instructors, but most of the learning is actually going to be from their peers that are sitting right there in class with them.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is pretty cool that they can...
And it makes you feel more comfortable, I think, as well.
It does.
You know what I mean? It's a very transparent way of doing things. I mean, I didn't mean, again, interrupt you, but I can talk about this all day long. I would be remiss because I don't want to make sure... I could talk about this stuff all day. I just want to read off some of the programs that are out on the website right now.
Yeah.
So we have assistant unit operator, certified pipeline welder, combustion turbine specialist, electric meter technician, electric service technician, and the list goes on. 21, I believe, are out there right now. But the starting apprenticeship salary, $34.70 an hour, $30.80 an hour. They're all almost over 30. Some of them close to 40. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
And I hate to be the one that talks about the money, but that's important. That's incredibly high.
It is. And that's one of the things that I think makes MidAmerican one of the best and greatest that I've ever worked for.
Yeah.
Not only do they provide tons of opportunities for their employees, but our compensation is amazing. Between the comprehensive benefits that we get as well as the pay.
Sure.
I mean, in today's times when people are struggling, we're being very well taken care of, and it shows how the organization really is committed to its employees as well as its customers.
Yeah.
Because we have a customer-first mindset. Well, everybody inside of MidAmerican, whether you're external as a customer or not, you're a customer to someone. And we really strive on that customer-first mentality.
Sure.
So I look at each of the business units that we work with as they're my prime customers.
Yep.
They're the ones that, they're the reason I'm there.
Yeah.
So I really think that the organization and the culture itself, it's very well taken care of, and the apprenticeships are a very, very good introduction into the organization.
Yeah.
And the pay's not bad.
Yeah, great plug for the company and why you want to be there. Okay, so we talked about the training facility a little bit. I'm jumping around here on you. I'm
you're
throwing you
fine.
for a loop. We talked about some of those programs. Talk about some of those paths, if you don't mind. They're different. I have the luxury of looking at it right here. Some of them are 1 year, some of them are 4 years. Give us a scoop on a little bit of that, if you don't mind. So for the parent that has a young adult out there, or the young adult looking for a change, or maybe you've already graduated from college, this is still what you want. Talk to us about some of that.
So yeah, if you're coming out of high school and you don't know where you're going, apprenticeships are a number one thing to look at. You can go to apprenticeship.gov or our MidAmerican Energy website and find apprenticeship programs.
Yep.
But those are going to be ways we can teach you from beginning to end a skill and a trade and have you come out the other side ready to perform. With MidAmerican Energy, we actually offer, like you said, over 21 of them, and that's across 3 different business types. So in generation, we have equipment operator, assistant unit operator, unit operator.
And by generation, you mean those have been there, the generation or thing. Gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
sorry.
Those are the either our thermal fleet.
Gotcha.
Or we have our combustion turbine technicians, which take care of our combustion turbines.
Okay.
So in the thermal fleet, the assistant unit operator, equipment operator, unit operator are all responsible for operating inside of the plant building itself. So they maintain the different systems to put steam, high pressure steam, which is pretty impressive if you ever get to go in and see one. But they're responsible for operating all that equipment inside safely.
Gotcha.
And generating electricity for the grid.
Yeah.
Well, there's other support groups in there as well. So you have fuel handling technicians, which sounds, it's a little misconceiving in the naming, but you actually get to operate equipment like D10 dozers, which if nobody's familiar with D10 dozers, they're very large.
Right.
Standing next to one on the blade myself, it's probably a good 4 or 5 feet taller than I am,
right.
and it's huge.
Right.
Well, we use those. We use 657 scrapers with these huge bowls that literally pick up fuel, take it over to a dumping area, and dump it in the hole, and conveyors go up to the plant.
Sure.
Well, we have those are kind of the operation style jobs in generation, but then we move into the actual, I'd say, the trade type work, which is our mechanics.
Yep.
So we have mechanic welders. We also have a machinist mechanic welder. The mechanic welder is a 3-year program that's a hybrid, so you can really advance pretty fast in that program depending on your skill level, whereas the machinist mechanic welder is not a hybrid, but if you complete the one program, all the skills that you learned in it transfer to a new one.
Sure.
So you only have to make up the difference. You don't have to ever retrain on something that you've already learned.
Yeah.
But those run between 3 and then 4 years. We also have something that you wouldn't think of. We have lab technicians. So we have water quality that we have to maintain, and our lab and potable water technicians are responsible for maintaining boiler chemistry, analyzing fuel quality. They do tons of stuff inside and outside the plant to make sure that it runs. And that program is 4 years now as well. So there's a lot of learning along those.
For sure. Well, I was going to say too, you touched on it. I'm glad you brought it up, which is you can move up through different career paths, obviously,
You really
in
can.
this. And to get into the next one, you just make up the difference of what you didn't have in the previous training then.
Correct. We do what we call a credit in lieu of.
Okay.
So if you've had training previously that aligns with the training and the program that you're in, we can make sure that the documentation's correct, make sure that the skills are correct, and then we can actually give you credit for that,
Yeah.
rather than you having to repeat a course over again that you've already done.
For sure.
And we've actually only touched on generation, and that's just one of our business units. So we have so many more. We have the gas industry, which is in and of itself is actually pretty impressive. So they're responsible for putting all the gas piping in the ground as well as getting it to your home. And it really requires a lot of skills. I never knew that gas pipe, first, before I ever went into the industry, never knew that it was plastic. Second, I never knew that you melted it. It's called fusing together. And learning the stuff like that is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So there's definite skill in that field as well. You have gas technicians, what we call gas construction journeymen, gas servicemen, meter and control technicians. And those programs range from 18 months all the way up to 3 years.
Gotcha.
So you really can either be the person that's out there digging with the equipment, putting the gas pipe in the ground,
Yeah.
the person who is going to the customer's home, doing the leak investigations, those things, or even going to the big regulator stations, town border stations that we have that fuel the communities, and making sure the odorant, that really smelly stuff, the captain, is up to standard in there, because those are all very important things. And natural gas is a very big benefit to our community. I mean, we use it for everything, and heating, cooking, and everything. So definitely a great set of trades to go through that program. And then we move into our electric side of the business, and everybody sees that the linemen are, when the weather's bad, that's when they get out there, right? And we can see that. So the electric side of our business, we actually have substation technicians, substation electricians, line mechanics, and electric meter technicians. I like to think of the substation technicians as the computer programmers. They're the ones that are more technical in their skill sets, whereas the electricians are the ones that actually go out and are able to build those substations. So they do everything from concrete up to setting these different breakers out there. And then our line mechanics, we know that they're the ones that actually go out and put the poles in the ground, run the wire, show up when the electricity doesn't turn on, and figure out why.
Save the day.
Yeah.
Right. Not that they all don't, but I mean, that's what everybody references, I think.
Right.
I mean, it's endless. There's just so many opportunities out there. And are you guys hiring for all of these randomly during the year?
We actually are. So anytime that there's an opening, our apprenticeship programs are first offered internally through our collective bargaining agreement.
Sure.
Once they've made the pass through there, then they're posted to our website. So the MidAmericanEnergy.gov, the join our team, and you'll be able to see the apprenticeships listed out there. But we hire every day, every year, it seems like. The only one that I would say is kind of on a timed basis is our line mechanic program. There's a requirement that we do have for that one program to have completed a 1-year approved school for line mechanics or linemen. One of those programs we actually helped start this year is with Des Moines Area Community College.
Okay, that's perfect. That leads into my next question, which is, so hold that thought. So that was my next question. So what, candidate-wise, folks right out of high school, community colleges, 4-year degree, career path, all of the above, right?
Really it is.
Okay.
It all depends on what you want to do. We only have one program with a college requirement. Every other program that we have.
Which one is that one?
That's the line
No,
mechanic.
Gotcha.
And it's not a diploma. It's not a degree requirement. It's a diploma requirement.
Gotcha.
But every other one, high school, diploma, or GED, in order to be able to even interview. And then the pre-screening, the hiring pre-screening that you have to complete.
And so then you mentioned the DMAC piece of it. So
Yes.
how'd that get connected then?
So we have pretty good relationships with many local area community colleges because we use them for training providers. But with DMAC, we noticed that there was a gap. So in order to get into the line mechanic program, especially for like us, you had to attend one of the schools. Well, there's like four schools around Eastern or around Iowa that you can really get into, and their wait list was extremely crazy. You were looking at 2 years for some, maybe 3 for others. We noticed there was a big hole and a big gap, and so we kind of sat down and brainstormed with DMAC, and along with IAMU, REC, and Alliant, we came up with a program that would fulfill our requirements for entering the program, entering our apprenticeship. And we sat down and, everybody kind of came up with their own needs and what they should learn, what they need to know as a prerequisite. And at the end, we came out with the Electric Utility Technology Program.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a diploma program for 1 year, or you can stay on for 2 years, and you'll end up with an associate's degree.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we hear that time and time again, everybody businesses trying to utilize the community colleges. That's great to hear. I'm going to jump around because I want to ask you what the future of registered apprenticeship looks like. And maybe that's with you guys in the wind turbine. Let's talk about that GI Bill program, because that's you mentioned to me we need to bring this up.
We do.
Very cool. So talk to us about that.
One of the things about me is I still follow my Army core values, which is loyalty, duty, selfless service, honor, respect, integrity, and personal courage.
Yep.
And leadership acronym, right?
Yeah.
But with MidAmerican Energy, they really are friendly to veterans, to even people who are still actively serving in the Guard or Reserves.
Yep.
So what we've done is this has been going on for a while. We went out with our registered apprenticeship programs, approached the Veterans Affairs Education Department and said, hey, we want to get these registered as education programs as well. So we had them look over our training programs, and they agreed that they actually fell within the GI Bill limits.
Yeah,
so
that's very cool.
Yeah. So whenever an employee starts, if they self-identify as a veteran, we work with them to get them connected and registered with the Veterans Affairs, and then we start kind of helping them along with all their paperwork requirements, which is a lot. But
yeah, I'm a GI Bill. Yeah, I get it. It is.
But we get to get all their information, get it sent over, get them approved for GI Bill benefits, which then they're able to take advantage of that education benefit.
Awesome.
By learning a trade.
Yeah. And was that something that you guys, just in the last 3 or 4 years as well, that's become a bigger thing for you guys as well? I mean, I know you've always been veteran-centric, but this specifically.
It really has. So veterans benefits, we've always worked towards getting our veterans their benefits. We've had the GI Bill program for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
But we really took a turn, I'd say, probably four years ago or so. We really started focusing on like the health and welfare of our employees and our veterans. And we had our current CEO, Kelsey Brown, actually kind of spearheaded start of an employee resource group called VetRN.
Yeah.
Well, that program works to identify who our veterans are within the organization, and then helps to kind of guide policy and procedure to make sure that it's inclusive of our veterans. So one of the things that that this group has accomplished, and I really have to give a shout out to Milt and Kelsey both, because they pushed this hard, is the military leave policy that we've actually adopted. It's amazing. We have spouse leave for 15 days of hardship leave.
Wow.
So if somebody's getting ready to deploy, that spouse actually has 15 days of leave that they can use to take care of the homestead, because everybody knows deploying, I hate to say this because I was the same way, but deploying is easy compared to going to a one-person home where you have to take care of it all.
Yeah, for sure.
So they really worked hard to get that pushed through, and had tons of support through the organization for it. And it's really cool to be a part of something that really embraces really everybody.
Yeah.
It's an inclusive environment.
Yeah,
extremely.
very cool. Very cool. I mean, and all the reasons why, if you're looking for a new career path, or your first career path, MidAmerican Energy is it. I want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
We're running up against time, though. I want to so I make sure that we get this into the video as well. Where do we want to send people to look at all the opportunities?
So we want to go to MidAmericanEnergy.gov. That will be our home webpage. And from there, I believe it is up in the right-hand corner. It should say About Us.
Mm-hmm.
And when you click on that, you'll be able to see a drop-down that should show different career paths within, and you can search for our careers there.
Yep.
So that is actually very, very big tool, because not only can you search the jobs in the available positions, you can learn about the comprehensive benefits we have, the ability to grow, and you have access to pre-employment screening exams and things like that. So any of the pre-employment screening tests that you may be subject to, you can actually see what they are on there.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend always looking there.
Yeah, and if you're a parent, or I can't stress this enough, you have a child or a young adult who's about to be a young adult, I guess probably the better way to say that, look at the opportunities that are out there. Push your folks there, neighbors, siblings, whatever it may be. If you're looking for a career path change, it's there. Okay, last one. Where do you think the future of registered apprenticeship is going, the model in the energy industry? What do you think there?
So this is actually a really cool one. I actually see that they're evolving as the way we learn changes. So the use of lecturing, reading, that's always been an important part. And we're actually transitioning more towards people who want to be engaged with the task that they're learning about. They want to put their hands on it while they're talking through it, which is, it's changed over time, but it's actually something that we're starting to embrace. So the apprenticeship model, when it started on the foundation of time as a measurement, we actually have transitioned since then. Now it's not so much how many hours you have in the seat, it's more how much exposure have you had doing the task. So I see the actual change going to a more of a hybrid or competency-based, where we take into account what you've learned and really able to grow on top of that. And we've done that at MidAmerican as well. We actually have switched our programs materials to more engaging formats. So we developed ebooks as well as interactive applications. So you can virtually wire a transformer. I mean, seriously, just wire it all up. Or you can use augmented reality to see the flow through a gas meter and all the components that actually work inside and how they work. So some really cool technology changes, and we're embracing those, but they're tools. What it really comes down to are the people with the organization that teach each other. It's
great stuff. This has been a fantastic opportunity to get you guys in here and talk about all the registered apprenticeship opportunities. Great career paths, folks. I think you've laid it out beautifully, all the opportunities and why working for MidAmerican Energy is so awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Stephen Simmons, who is the Director of Trades and Craft Training, who came in on short notice. Thank you very much. And thank you to the MidAmerican Energy team, because I really was kind of a pain to them for trying to get you on. And this is why, because the opportunity of the episode is awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.